What's up, guys? It's Meg, and it's that time of the week again where we get to talk about the best show on television, AMC's The Walking Dead. Today we're discussing a review for the season 6 finale, The Last Day on Earth. Now, I know you guys right now are not thinking this is the best show on Earth. There is a huge uproar of angry viewers, fans of the show, who are extremely angry about not getting to see who died by Lucille last night. I will admit that I am not really that thrilled with the way it ended. Obviously, we all wanted to see that scene. We all wanted to see that moment when Glenn or Daryl or whoever was picked would be killed by Lucille. Like, that was an iconic comic moment that we didn't get to see, and it was a big letdown. I will admit that I was upset last night. I don't like the thought of going the next 7 months not knowing who died. It really bothered me. I didn't sleep very well last night, to be quite honest, but waking up this morning, I feel like whenever you go to sleep and you're able to wake up in the morning and kind of have a different perspective on it, and I kind of understand it a little bit more. And I know a lot of you are probably not going to agree with me here, because a lot of fans are very upset about not being able to see the scene. But hear me out. And I'm gonna just get this out of the way, because if you don't watch anything else in this video, hopefully you'll watch this first part and maybe, you know, go on thinking a little bit differently about this episode. Hopefully you'll watch the rest of the video though. So there's been so much hype over who's gonna die by Lucille. So much anticipation this entire season 6, really, especially the second half of the season, when we knew that Negan had been cast, and everyone, that's all we've been thinking about. That's all we've been talking about as fans and viewers of the comics and the television show. Everything has revolved around who will die. And really, if you think about it, I mean, if you take a step back and think about it, that is not what last night's episode was about at all. The episode was not about who was going to die. The episode was about Rick and how confident he is, and how confident his group is, and how everyone has been feeling really good about being able to take on these saviors. And at the beginning of the episode, you see, like, Rick's kind of like, you know, he drives up in the RV and there's this first group here with this guy, and they're like, no, you know, we're just gonna go around, we're not gonna do what you say. And he's very cocky in his replies back to the savior, and the savior repeats over and over again, you know, be nice to your people, this could be the last day on Earth. And he obviously, at the time, he knows something else, you know, something bigger is going on, but Rick is very confident at this point. And throughout the episode, you slowly, you know, at each checkpoint here, you slowly see him lose that confidence. And this episode was really about him being knocked down a peg or two, and being at the end of it, which you see on his face, the most terrified look you've ever seen on Rick Grimes' face. The most horrified, he's shaking, he can't even speak. He's so upset and frightened and terrified over this. To see him go from 100% confidence to completely helpless and broken, that was what this episode was about. It wasn't about the death. Yes, this death is a big deal, and it will affect the group moving forward, but really this half of this well, not this half, but this particular episode was about them being completely knocked off the horse, them being brought down to feeling so helpless and at Negan's mercy. And then the second half, or not the second half, excuse me, and then season 7, when season 7 starts, that will be about what comes after this death, how this death affects everyone, you know, who died, if it's Glenn, how Maggie's affected, how Rick is affected, no matter who it is. That's what season 7 will be about, moving forward, and how they're dealing with this, and what comes next. And so to take away the emphasis on the death, yes, it's a big part of the episode, but to take that away so you don't know, it makes you think more about what else is going on in the episode that we needed to know about. And the biggest emphasis was Rick being so confident and losing all of that confidence. That's what the episode was about. It wasn't about the death. Unfortunately, they, you know, and they took the death. I guess what I'm trying to say here, and hopefully you're understanding, is they took the death out, the death scene out, so that we would hopefully focus more on the other part of the story here and not on who's dying. Because if we saw who died, we would be freaking out over that and nobody would be thinking about anything else. Obviously that plan that the writers and directors had has kind of backfired on them a little bit. I mean, it's backfired, obviously, because there's a big uproar of angry fans going on right now. But I will admit that I'm not really angry about it anymore. I'm sad that we don't get to see it. I don't feel like I have closure, and I feel like it's a really long wait until, you know, next October when we will finally get to figure out who it was. But moving right along, so hopefully, you know, I'm sure a lot of you won't agree with me here, and that's okay. We all have our, you know, different opinions on what each episode is about and what's important to see. As a comic fan, I am sad that we didn't get to see that scene. I really wanted it. I'm hoping that when season 7 premieres, we will kind of go back to a third person point of view, and we'll get to see, I mean, we will know no matter what, but I hope that we get to see that scene in the premiere, or at least immediately after that scene. I hope that there's no weird time jump there. I don't think there will be. Okay, so moving right along, kind of backtracking a bit, we have this big story with Carol and Morgan, and then another separate story with Rick and the Saviors. And I want to talk about Carol and Morgan real quickly because I really loved this part of the episode. It was so emotional for me. I wasn't expecting Morgan to find Carol right away, but he does, and she is injured like we thought. And she's in very bad shape, and this whole part of the episode is about Morgan kind of trying to convince her to come back, and people care about you, and I want to help you, and she's like, no, you know, I'm not going back no matter what, just let me be, just leave me alone. And there was a particular phrase here that I'll read to you that she said to Morgan, and I thought, wow, that's actually really good. And she says, if you care about anyone, there's always a price. I've paid it. And she's paid it more than once. I've paid it and I can't do it anymore. And that is kind of, you know, she's killed for those that she's loved. She's lost those that she's loved. And whenever you care for someone, you end up doing things like killing someone that you may not want to do. And that's why she's separating herself from everyone she cares about, because she doesn't want to pay that price anymore. She doesn't want to commit any more murders to save people that she loves. And I really like that she says this. And then, you know, and then she disappears again. She runs off, and Morgan, the Savior has caught up to her, and he's shot her a couple times, and Morgan comes up and he sees it, and it's that moment again where if you care for someone, you'll have to pay that price. And right before the Savior goes to kill Carol, Morgan kills him, shoots him multiple times in the head. And that is a price he paid because he cares about Carol. And I loved seeing that moment where now we know, and now Morgan knows, and I feel like I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. But he is willing, he doesn't want to kill, and that's his whole philosophy here, is that he struggled with this entire time, is he's tried really hard not to kill and to have this new philosophy. But when it came down to Carol or letting her live or die, he chose to save her, and he chose to pay that price by committing that murder in order to save someone that he really cared about. And I really appreciated that. I appreciated that he was forced into that position and he did the right thing here. And then, oh my gosh, they're both saved by the kingdom. Now, I'm so thrilled. I was so happy in this moment because I thought, I mean, she's near death. She's been shot a couple times. She has a really bad wound on her side. I thought she is going to die. She wants to die. And then when these saviors, this miracle, I mean, not saviors, excuse me, when the kingdom people come out of nowhere and it's just this miracle, and you know, they're gonna take Carol to a better place here and get her help. And I can't tell you how happy I am. Oh, I'm getting all red just thinking about it. And I can't wait to see more of Carol and Morgan and what happens with them up at the kingdom. And I think at least by the second half of season 7, no, I don't know how quickly the story is going to move along, but we should see them again. If not in the first half of season 7, definitely by the second half. But I kind of think the kingdom will be introduced beforehand, before, you know, in season 7, the first half. So I want to keep this review moving because we know how I like to talk. The this whole Savior and Rick and co, this cat and mouse game that the Saviors are playing with Rick's group was so terrifying to me. And it's just, and Negan, when Negan comes out, he even says, you know, I had to pull a lot of strings, pull a lot of people together to really show you just what I'm capable of. And that's exactly what he did. You know, Rick starts out with just this one group here, and he's like, oh, we'll just go a different way. We're not going to deal with them right now. And then every single way that he goes, it's blocked. And not just blocked by people, but blocked by a walker barrier, and there's snipers, and then blocked by a huge thing of logs that, you know, I mean, as Eugene says, they have to have a lot of big equipment to move all of those logs into place there in a very quick amount of time. And it was just one of these things that I feel like is a thing of your nightmares, where you have a dream, and I know I've had these dreams before, where you're dreaming you're trying to escape the bad guy, but you can never escape because the bad guy's always right behind you. Whenever you turn around, whenever you think you've had a good hiding spot, the bad guy's always there. I've had these nightmares like a million times, and so seeing it brought to life on the television was just absolutely terrifying. That, along with the whistles, I just, whoa, it was such a good episode in that respect. I loved this Savior and Rick interactions here where it's just so terrifying, and every time Rick's group thinks that they've come up with a good plan, the Saviors are always one step ahead of them. And it was just brilliant, and it was brilliantly played out. Nothing like that really happened in the comics, and so to see them put this spin on it in such an amazing way was really thrilling to me, and it definitely gave me chills the whole time, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. This is freaking me out. So it was really wonderfully well done in that respect here. Okay, I feel like I jumped around a little bit here. I kind of jumped way far ahead. I want to head back just for a moment to back to Alexandria. Father Gabriel, loved him. Just have to say that I am so happy that Rick trusts him and has put him in charge. We see him out of his priest's uniform. His top priority is Judith, and he is running Alexandria's defense here, and I'm just so happy about it. And I love seeing him like this, and he is like quickly moving to one of my favorite characters right now, because I'm so excited to see him grow into this new character. And you know, in the comics, it's taken him up until, I mean, a whole lot longer to really do anything. I mean, just now in the comics, he's learning how to shoot. And so, and the comics are pretty far ahead of where we are at in the show right now. And so to see him growing so quickly, it's pretty awesome. I'm really excited about it. I love that he is taking charge, and I just love seeing this character that he's growing into. I also want to say that it was very apparent throughout the episode that the Saviors had been watching Alexandria. They knew that Rick was loading up the RV. They knew that they were going to go on the road, and they were purposely blocking all of the road access to the hilltop. And I don't know how they know this, but they're very good at hiding in the woods, apparently, as they've shown us multiple times. So they were very aware that Rick was getting ready to go on the move, and then they pulled together all of these you know, roadblocks and everything so that we, you know, our group couldn't get away, and just these elaborate plans. So we know that they're very capable of tracking and hunting our people. And like I said before, every time we think that our group is one step ahead of them, the Saviors are really another step ahead of them. And it's just so crazy. And so by the end, when they decide to, I mean, it seems like a good plan. Eugene takes the RV. He's gonna just drive slowly towards, you know, the next barrier, and they're gonna go on foot. And they think that the Saviors don't know that they're going on foot, but in truth, there must have been a Savior or something in the woods there, because they know. And no sooner do they get Maggie onto the stretcher and are running through the woods that they start hearing the whistles. And these whistles are so friggin' scary, I swear. And they're blocked and they're herded. I mean, this entire episode, they were being herded straight towards Negan. And they didn't even realize it at first until the end. And they were being herded straight to where Negan wanted them to go. And it was just an incredible moment, I think, to see them so shocked that they just couldn't get away no matter how hard they tried. There was no way out of this moment with Negan. And it was just truly awesome to see Rick brought down to such a low point, where he started out so high and so confident in their abilities and everything, and then just to be completely knocked down and completely helpless and completely at Negan's mercy. It was just really as a fan of the comics and as a fan of the show in general, just really an awesome moment and an eye-opening moment, and it just signifies such a huge change for Rick and the rest of the Alexandrians here. I also really love the Walker barrier when they put pieces of Michonne and Daryl and Rosita and Glenn on these walkers. I thought that was really like surprising that they thought to do that, and that they even thought that Rick would notice. I didn't even notice until they said something, you know, in the show about it. And I just thought that was also really awesome, because it just adds to this creep factor where Rick is like, oh my gosh, they definitely have Michonne. And just the horror on our group's faces when they realized, and he rips the dreadlock off of Michonne, or not Michonne, the Walker Michonne, the Walker's head there. It was just like, yeah, you know, and he's so angry at that point. And again, so our group is talking in the woods yet again. And all of a sudden the whistles come, like I said, and I just had to comment on this one thought that, I mean, if you're running, I mean, there's common sense here, right? These saviors were obviously a lot smarter than Rick gave them credit for. And at that moment when they're running through the woods, they know that these saviors are smarter. Why would you guys be talking out in the woods like that? It's just so upsetting to me that they would be so careless when they know that they have the potential to be watched, don't they? I mean, they can't be. And again, I just feel like they're so confident in themselves. Like they were so confident that this plan is gonna work. We're gonna get around them and sneak by them, that they didn't even think that there could be someone in the woods. Turns out there's a whole group of them in the woods waiting. I mean, it's just, it's maddening. It's so maddening. And so we get the intro to Negan, and this is what we've been waiting for as comic fans, and I couldn't help but smile when I saw him because he's such a beautiful man. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan was truly amazing in this role. I mean, just absolutely incredible. And hearing him step out of the trailer and just do like the pee-pee pants city phrase from the comics, I just like, oh, like you're excited and then you're horrified at the same time because you know what's coming. And it was such an emotional like 10 minutes of the episode where I just want to cry and laugh and smile all at the same time. And it's very like overwhelming. And I'm sure you guys all felt it. It's just a very overwhelming feeling of emotions to just have all at once. And they didn't say, they didn't have Negan say his, mandatory curse words, fuck every other word here. And I know a lot of people would probably be upset that they weren't able to say it on live television, but I didn't mind it, to be quite honest with you. I thought that Jeffrey pulled it off very well, not being able to say all of those words, but still able to make himself sound sinister and creepy and yet charming in a really creepy way. So I didn't really mind it. And I loved that they put in a lot of those famous comic phrases like the pee-pee pants city and the eeny meeny miny mo. And it was just, oh, it was so good. And then we see them bring out Daryl, Glenn, and Rosita and Michonne. And so throughout the episode, we had been seeing from a first person point of view, which we thought was Daryl. I thought was Daryl. I said that in my last predictions video. I thought that it was Daryl's point of view, but we find out that we don't know whose point of view it is. It's just someone's point of view that is inside the truck. And it's one of these four people: Daryl, Glenn, Michonne, or Rosita. We don't know who. I obviously think that it's down to Glenn or Daryl here at this point, because, and so this is how I know for sure that the only two people that have the option of dying by Lucille are Glenn or Daryl here, because there is no reason for them to show us a first person point of view from the truck and then show us a first person point of view from that person who's getting killed by Lucille. There was no reason, unless that is the same person. Now, Robert Kirkman in The Talking Dead said that there were clues in this episode as to who was killed by Lucille, who got killed. And I believe that's our clue, that whoever's first person point of view was in that truck is the same person that got Lucille'd. And I'm 100% sure that it was not Michonne or Rosita. I just am. it wasn't. I know it wasn't. As for Glenn or Daryl, I honestly think that it was Glenn. I do not think it was Daryl at all, to be quite honest with you. I think that it was Glenn, and I think that it's pretty certain at this point that there is no reason they would have done that point of view from the truck if it wasn't the same point of view that was getting killed by Lucio. Now, I'm sure a lot of people will have differing opinions here. I've heard people say it's Eugene. It's not Eugene. I know it's not Eugene. But you know, I'm saying that, but I guess I could be wrong at some point, but it's really down to Glenn or Daryl here. I'm gonna wrap up my review here. I am sure that I have missed so much stuff. So we're gonna do a weekly Walker Talk this week for this season 6 finale. I'll answer all your questions. Any comments you have, feel free to leave them in the comment section here. I know I've missed something. But I have to get going at this point. Obviously, I'm in my car, I'm in a new place, filming on a new camera. It is a very clear image here, and I'm like really emotional here talking to you guys. So I apologize for the redness when I get really upset or worked up over something, which obviously I'm very emotional about this episode, and I'm very excited to talk about it, so I tend to get red and all like blah, because there's so much emotions going on. Okay. Whoa, this has definitely been a season, hasn't it? Big changes coming for The Walking Dead season 7. I hope there's no time jump. I'm really sad that we don't know who died. I hope it doesn't get ruined over the break. Okay, Fear the Walking Dead season 2 is coming next Sunday. I will be doing live reactions, I will be doing reviews, and I will still be doing weekly Walker Talk videos. In fact, we have a Fear the Walking Dead Q&A coming this week as well. So make sure you go check out the announcement video for that Fear Q&A and leave any questions or comments you have there that you want me to answer this week. We have another Q&A for this video for the season 6 finale of The Walking Dead. So feel free to leave any questions or comments either here or in the reaction video for that weekly Walker Talk. Lots of videos. We also have a Fear the Walking Dead season 2 promo breakdown coming this week. Oh my gosh, I have emotion overload right now, excitement overload. Okay, I gotta go. I love you guys. Tell me if I've missed anything in the comments. I'm sure I have. I'm gonna look through my notes after I'm done with this and go, fuck, I didn't talk about that. So I hope you guys have a great day. Stay strong. Don't riot just yet. You're gonna be okay. It's all gonna be okay.